All right, welcome everybody. Good to be here with you this fine new year. Does it feel different for you already? Does it feel good to get out of 2020? Now, it has been a crazy year, and I want to do this session together with you so we could meditate in the new year and really use what's going on around us as a great leap forward within our own consciousness. You see, what Lester often said is use every down as an up and use every challenge as an opportunity. That's how you really grow. It's when you talk about like meditation and spiritual practice, it's easy to meditate when you're in the temple, when you're in nice, peaceful surroundings. It's easy to be imperturbable there when everything is harmonious around you, or at least things aren't bothering you. But it's another thing to be able to meditate and do your same practice and get the same results. I'm talking about, not just being peaceful and, imperturbable despite what's going on, but having the tangible result of the outer being a reflection of the inner and having it your way despite what's going on in the world and proving that out. See, it's another thing to prove that out when everything is going up in flames. And this is the best opportunity to step up, because oftentimes when we are put in a situation where there's so many restrictions and so many problems, we have nowhere else to turn but within ourselves. And it forces us to double down and use these practices and have that giant movement and consciousness in ourselves. So that's what Lester said. You use it as an opportunity. If something bothers you, use it for releasing. So what I want to do with you today is clean up anything that you've been hung up on. If you had a really lousy year this past year, if it affected you, if you got caught up in all the turmoil, all the craziness with, the politics, not just in the US, the whole world, all sorts of, arguing and, who's right going on. And it's easy to get caught up in all of that. So if you found yourself, kind of just swept away, let's clean all that out. And let's clean up 2020 so you can move forward and realize you could have it your way moving forward into this new year. All right. So let's start off with a nice long meditation, and then we will do some work, on your situation. So we'll work together and, clean up anything that, you're stuck on or you would like to move forward. Because this is an opportunity to prove how powerful you are, to prove you could have it your way. And despite what happened to you in 2020, you can clean it all up. That's everything that we do with releasing. When we get started with this and we start digging in, we dig out these programs, these limitations, these rules that are imprinted in our mind that causes us to just have barriers around us where other people don't have those barriers. It's all in the mind. And a lot of these things go way back into the past, even back when we were children. Now we can clean those up and knock them out and remove those barriers, proving that it's never too late. So despite what happened to you in 2020, it's never too late to clean it all up and move forward. And also, this is a good reminder about using the tools that we have here, that Lester gave us, to release constantly so that you don't get caught out, so that you don't find yourself under, have to dig yourself out. And that's the way a lot of us, we go about our releasing. We release so that we feel good, and then we blow it off. And then we find ourselves with our back against the wall, so we have to release. And then we get things manageable again, and then we stop. But if you get, a rhythm of releasing constantly, then whatever happens doesn't catch you out. You ride it like a wave. I remember back in 2001, on 9/11, when the World Trade Center collapsed. There were all these wild, urban legends that came out of that, including one person that was at the top of one of the towers when it collapsed, and he rode it down like a wave, and he survived. Now, I don't know if that ever happened, but the concept is certainly true. When there is a disaster and you're nice and released, you just ride it like a wave. And that's what I found in 2020. I never had any problem with restrictions, with not being able to have or do what I wanted. And despite all the limitations and all the problems, I never had a better year. Financially, relationships, everything. It was absolutely terrific. So as we practice here tonight, notice what you experience and realize that if you do this consistently, and you consistently keep things simple, you don't complicate Lester's process, that you can steadily keep moving up. And no matter what goes on in the world, it just won't affect you. All right, so let's do this meditation and then get on to some specific work. Okay, so close your eyes. Now let's take a look back through 2020. Now overall, when you look at 2020, this past year, and as you're looking at the year, also look at your mind. What is your mind, by the way? As you're sitting here right now, how do you experience it? It's just a noisemaker. And it's a thing that's filled with clutter. It's like a clutter of noise. And out of this clutter, certain objects pop up for your attention to focus on, and then it goes back and something else pops in. And you might notice this as you're looking at 2020. There's a lot of clutter. Oh, that thing happened. Oh, and how I experienced that. And I had this disappointment. I had these feelings. I had this fear. And then you see all sorts of things. Images of what you saw in the news. People rioting, people dying, people arguing. So when you look at 2020, just notice all the noise. And here you have a choice. You can keep this noise. And how you end up keeping the noise is you resist it. And you resist the feelings that get stirred up by it. The feelings of fear, anger, guilt, resentment, pride, wanting to be better than others. And we resist the feelings, right? We push them down. And see if you've been pushing down any feelings. So as you're thinking about the year, just now shift your focus to your stomach and chest area. This is where you could feel where you're suppressing your feelings. And you'll feel it as that tightness, that contraction in your stomach or chest, just a clenching feeling, or a knot, like a knot in your stomach. And wherever you feel that, open up an imaginary window or door. This is how you can let the whole thing go and in turn declutter your mind. So right in front of that contraction, open up an imaginary window or door, whichever you like. And just let that energy leave right on out the door. And let it leave some more. And some more. And more. And more. And more. And even more. And welcome that energy up. It might run deep, but it all wants to leave. And all you have to do is just get out of the way now. See, first you opened up the door. Now completely get out of the way. And allow all of that energy to arise. And you don't need to know where it's arising from, how it got there. Just let it come up. It all wants to leave anyway. If you just get out of the way, it'll all leave. So just allow it to arise. Let it pass through. If it helps you, just keep focusing on that open door and imagining it going out the door. And let it go some more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And how's that feel? You feel lighter? And that's showing you that you're moving the right way. This is the way to go. Keeping that door open. Letting that energy go, not bottling it up. And you can see when you take a look at 2020 now, see if it looks a little bit different than it did a few moments ago. Not so bad. And so you're decluttering your mind. And you know what that shows you? That that's moving in the right way. And that's the only thing you need to do is completely declutter your mind. Get rid of the whole thing. Every bit of it is just obscuring you from knowing the total truth. But too often we value it. We want to hold on to that information. We want to be smart. Add more knowledge to it. No. Subtract all the knowledge from it. Then you'll see things clearly. All you have to just notice is what you're experiencing. When you let that energy go, the mind gets quieter, things get better. So if you just keep doing that and keeping it that simple, that'll keep you on the right track. Now see if your mind has been stirred up and resisting what's going on. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. It's easy to resist if you let it. Whether it's the issue of climate change, the issue of vaccination, the issue of global currencies. Some say that there's the Great Reset taking place right now, taking away ownership. And however you fall on any of these topics, there's no right or wrong. It doesn't matter. What really matters is what's going on in your mind. And if your mind is all stirred up, if it's rigid, if it's noisy, just focus on that. And realizing the right way to go is just eliminating the noise, regardless of what's right or wrong out there. Just eliminate the noise, and you'll find out for yourself what's right for you. Now take a look to see if you've been trying to figure out the best way forward. What to do with what's going on in the world right now, and how to solve it, whether it's for you or for the overall world. And see if your mind knows what to do about it. Does it? Now, sure, your mind, it knows how to argue. It knows how to fight. It knows how to be right. But it really doesn't have any solution. Especially the basic solution that you're really looking for, which is just to be happy. Does your mind know how to be happy right now? No. Or it thinks it does, but its idea of happiness is latching onto things. Objects in the world. That stuff makes it happy. But all that stuff is fleeting. So your mind isn't going to direct you towards what you're really looking for. It doesn't have the solution. And isn't it silly, if that's the case, to keep asking and holding on to that mind? Trying to use it to solve something that it can never solve. So can you just drop that for a moment? Just drop your mind. And let go of wanting to figure out what to do moving forward. And maybe you've been trying to figure out how to be prosperous, how to be free, how to have justice, whatever. And your mind doesn't have the answer, right? So just drop it now, just for this moment. Now, let's get right to the root of the problem. See if you're disapproving of what's going on. Whether you're disapproving of what's going on in your life, you're disapproving of yourself, or you're disapproving of the world or specific people. And what do you achieve by disapproving? What does that get you? It lands you in a big pile of garbage, doesn't it? And who's doing that? You are, aren't you? So if you're doing it, and it's not resolving anything, it's just making it worse, now you can decide to do something. Here's where you can make an immediate change. Now, could you let go disapproving of what's going on? Just a little bit. Could you let go disapproving of what's going on a little bit more? Just a little bit. And could you let that go a little bit more? That disapproval. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And could you let go disapproving of it even more? And even more. And more. And even more. And how does that feel? Do you feel lighter? Good, you're moving in the right direction. Now, could you give whatever's going on some approval? Just because positive doesn't hurt anything. Just give a little bit of approval now. And a little bit more approval. And a little bit more. And a little bit more approval. And more. And a little bit more. And more. And even more. And a little bit more. And how's that feel? Better, right? All right, so let's keep moving in this good direction. Now, see if you have been disapproving of yourself. Maybe you've been entertaining some poor me story. Oh, my business has suffered. All my plans were canceled. Can't do what I want. I don't like what's going on. Life sucks. Basically, dwelling on all of that is beating yourself up. And what do you accomplish by doing that? You think your life is going to change for the better by beating yourself up? And who's doing it? You are. So now you can turn it around. Just decide. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. Which would you rather do? Right, so could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And could you let go disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And more. And even more. And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And how's that feel? Now, could you just like yourself, just right now in this moment? Just because. Why not? And could you give yourself a little bit more approval? And could you give yourself a little bit more approval? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And could you just love yourself right now? And some more. And some more. And how does that feel? Now take a look at yourself and the world around you. And see if things are as bad as they were a few minutes ago. Or do things look brighter? More positive, with more potential? You might even find that all those problems have gone away. That there is no problem. Anybody notice that? And this is proving the whole thing is your picture. And this is the great lesson to learn. This is why it's good to embrace when times are tough. Because it's all your picture anyway. And you always have a choice. You could disapprove of it, you could fight it, and go down with it. Or you can practice these skills and release. And then come right back to you and see the whole thing. Whether it's the world's climate, whether it's I don't know, some people call it the cornholio sickness. This stupid virus thing that's going on. You see the whole thing. It doesn't have to affect you unless you let it. Now, of course, if you go back to the mind, it'll insist that everything out there is real. All those problems are real. You have to be prudent. You have to be smart. But the smart thing to do right now is discriminate. If you go down that road, if you follow where your mind is wanting to take you, where does that leave you? Where do you end up? Nowhere. You got no solutions going down that road. You just have more problems. The only solution is just to release. And then you'll discover what all the great masters, from Jesus to Amma, all the masters, they all say the same thing. They tell you, you're a master. Everything is your creation. And they demonstrate it. They do all these miracles. Not to show how great they are, but to demonstrate you can do it too. That's what Jesus demonstrated when he let them kill him. And then he came back 3 days later. Why? To show I'm not the body. The body's my creation. See, I just revived it. Yeah, so if you can have the knowledge that the masters have, then what do you need to be afraid of? With the environment or a virus or some supposed dictator? You got nothing to be afraid of. And despite what the conditions are going on, you could have it your way. Yeah, a great example is Amma, the hugging saint. She grew up in a very, very poor village in southern India. A village of fisher people. In a class system that doesn't allow any upward mobility. So she was like dirt poor. And look at what she created out of that. She has ashrams all around the world. She created universities, hospitals, and a huge resource of economics to do good in the world. How'd she do that? If the world has power over each and every one of us. See, what she demonstrated is, hey, it's all my picture. Look at what I can create. And you can too. But you got to clear out everything that you're hung up on. So let's go back through 2021, because this is a great year to see yourself getting hung up, getting jammed up. So let's unjam ourselves. So let's just go through it all in slow motion. Let's start in January. Take a look. What was going on in January? Where were you at? Maybe you didn't hear anything about this cornholio sickness yet. You had big plans. Now, see if there's anything you want to change about January. Maybe you did hear some news about this virus coming out of China. You know, oh, wonder if that's going to be a big thing. And see if you want to change that. Anything about January. Now, if you want proof that it's all your picture, look at what you're picturing, holding in your mind when you're resisting and you're wanting to change what happened, even though it was already in the past now. You're just holding a picture of the problem, what's wrong, not solutions. not light at the end of the tunnel. You're looking backwards. You're looking at the problem. So no wonder it keeps you stuck if that's what you're holding in mind. If that's what's going on, gee, maybe it is your picture. And you could turn it around now. Could you let go of wanting to change what happened in January? Could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And some more. It's just a decision right now, yes or no. That's all you have to do. Just decide. Can you let go of wanting to change it, yes or no? And if you want to know the difference, just focus on your stomach or chest, right? Focus on wanting to change it. That's unacceptable. Focus on resisting it. And notice how that feels in your stomach or chest. Your body will let you know that's not the right way to go. All right, so could you let go of wanting to change it? It's just a decision, yes or no. And could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And some more. And some more. And could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And how do you feel about January now? And you can notice a difference in your stomach or chest, right? Less contracted, more lighter, more easier, more peaceful. And this shows you you're getting unstuck. Now take a look at February. And see if you're wanting to change anything that happened in February. I think maybe that's when the travel bans started happening and you couldn't go across continents anymore. Countries are starting to close down. And see if you're wanting to change anything about that. And notice what you're holding in mind. You're just stuck on a picture of a problem. And that's what you end up continuing to create. That very same problem. You just regenerate it. Again and again and again. And you're doing it. And you can't change it. It's an exercise in futility. So could you let go of wanting to change it? And some more. And more. And more. And more. and more. And really focus in. Take a look. See what it is that you're wanting to change. What were you wanting to change back in February? You still are. Maybe you were looking at the news. It hadn't spread so much yet, but boom, suddenly it happened in Italy. Oh, look at what happened in Italy. I hope it stays contained. Oh no, it's spreading. The cat's out of the bag now. Let's see if you're wanting to change any of that. Could you let go of wanting to change it now? And more. And more. And more. And more. And how do you feel now? Feel nice and easy and relaxed? See, this is where you're flexible. And change can happen when you let go. Now let's take a look at March. Right. That's when shutdowns started happening, right? Remember? 2 weeks to slow the spread, right? We're going to shut down for a few weeks. Oh, that's not fun. Maybe you had to go through the great toilet paper shortage of March 2020. How am I going to wipe my bum now? All right, see if you want to change what happened in March. All right, could you let go of wanting to change it? And could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And more. And more. And more. And see if you have some fear that was getting stirred up. There's a lot of fear of the unknown. What's really going to happen? Is this going to be a zombie apocalypse? The great contagion? Dead bodies littering the streets? Didn't know. Scary stuff, right? And see if you're still suppressing some fear. And even though you might know better, it wasn't as bad as the worst of the worst, you still have some fear suppressed. Right? So welcome up the fear. Let go of holding it down. Could you let go of the fear? Just like letting go of that energy. You could focus on your stomach, your chest. Open up that door. Because right now when you have fear, you'll feel that contraction. So open up. And just see it as energy going out the door now. That's all that fear is, just energy. Isn't it? I mean, have you ever met fear in person? Met it as anything tangible? It's just a feeling, it's just energy. So open up and let that energy leave. Let it pass through. When you suppress it, you keep it. That fear runs you. It affects your thinking. It affects your decisions. And none of that is any good, right? It's just energy. So open up. Let it go. And let it go some more now. And you don't have to place any value on it or make anything out of it. It's just energy passing through. And let it go some more. And some more. And more. And more. And even more. And how do you feel now? Now let's take a look at April. And see if you want to change anything about April. All right, 2 weeks has passed. And we still have to stay locked down. Oh no. Maybe you saw problems in the economy, problems in supply. Maybe you started to worry about your job or your business. Or maybe it got taken away from you. Now see if there's anything you want to change that happened in April. And could you let go wanting to change it? And could you let go wanting to change it some more? And some more. And more. And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And could you allow April to be as it was? Just let it be. And let yourself be. Now take a look at May. And what happened in May? What did you want to change? And still do. Now, could you let go of wanting to change? Whatever it is you're looking at. Because right now, what you're looking at is just in your mind. Now, could you let go of wanting to change it? And more. And more. And more. And could you let go of wanting to change it even more? And even more. And even more. And see how you feel about May now. It's just another month. Now take a look at June. Boy, lots of stuff erupted in June. Riots. And lots of people got stirred up by what happened there. And how does it help you to want to change that? Either wanting to change the system, the police, wanting to change discrimination, or on the other side, wanting to change people going around smashing things, or wanting to change the politicians for how they treated it, what they did. Right? When you get into wanting to change, you only end up in one position where you are the victim. And that's no way for a master to live, going around acting like a victim. And all that is just you listening to your mind, telling you that, oh, whatever that is, it's unacceptable. It's got to change. Regardless of what side. Right? The only way to go is to transcend the whole thing. And it's so simple. Could you let go of wanting to change it? Whatever it is you want to change. And could you let go of wanting to change it a little bit more? And more. And more. And even more. And could you let go of wanting to change it even more? And even more. And even more. And more. And even more. See, when you let go, you realize there are no victims. All you have to do is just look. If you go around wanting to change things, there is no resolution. You're just stuck in your mind, looking at the same problem again and again and again. But when you let go, you see for yourself firsthand there was no problem to begin with. That's a great realization. Now take a look at July. See if there's anything you want to change that happened in July. And could you let go of wanting to change it? And some more. And some more. And see, all the proof that you need is just to pay attention to how you feel when you're wanting to change what's going on, whatever it is. Does it feel good to want to change it? Seriously, take a look, examine it. How does it feel? You feel out of control. You feel bothered. You feel negative. And who's doing that? Who's wanting to change? You are. And you got your mind talking to you, giving you all sorts of reasons. And you have a choice. You can keep listening to that mind. That mind that likes to complain, that likes to criticize, that judges. And it's never satisfied. If there's one thing that it's critical about, and that thing goes away, you'll find something else to be critical about. It'll fill in that gap. It'll just keep on criticizing. Who wants to listen to that? And where did that voice come from anyway? Did your parents give it to you? That sound in your head, your mind. Did they give it to you, your parents? Did God give it to you? Whose voice is it? It's your voice. Which means you're the owner. And you can let go and realize you're the owner. Or you can keep on listening to it, where it just boxes you in a corner. You're always dissatisfied, and that mind is always complaining. And it's directing a lot of that to you, telling you to beat yourself up, to be fearful, to be worried. Again, who wants to listen to that? And whose voice is it? So could you let go of wanting to change everything that happened in July? Just right now in this moment. And see what happens. And could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And some more. And some more. And notice what happens. That voice quiets down. And what remains? Just peace, aliveness, love, and a knowingness, a real knowingness that there are no problems. And that mind was just full of it. This is why we meditate and do things that we like. Go hiking, painting, because when we focus ourselves doing those activities, the mind's quiet. Yet we go back and we just fill a bunch of garbage into the mind and keep it churning and keep listening to it. Have that thing boss us around. That's crazy. Just quiet it once and for all. Like Lester said, if you could quiet your mind, just for one moment, just completely quiet it, you'll go through the most amazing experience you'll ever know. Now take a look at August. All right, what happened in August? Maybe it looked like for a while that life was going to get back to normal. Maybe you're trying to pick up some pieces in your life. So just take a look. What's going on in August? And could you let go of wanting to change anything that happened there in August? And could you let it go some more? And some more. And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And take a look at September. And see if you want to change what happened in September. More craziness. And when you resist that, notice you make yourself stuck. So could you let go of wanting to change what happened in September? And it's just a decision, yes or no. Could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And some more. And some more. And more. And more. And even more. Now take a look at October. And what do you want to change about October? Could you let go of wanting to change it? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And more. And more. And even more. And even more. Now take a look at November. See if you want to change anything that happened in November. Maybe you're wanting to change certain elections. And how does that help you to want to change anything? And wanting to change certain people. So you're giving your power away. You really are. And of course you can't change anything, so all you're left with is stuck listening to your mind, complaining about those people or whatever's going on. Gee, that's a lot of fun. So could you let go of wanting to change it? Could you let go of wanting to change it some more? And some more. Now you might be saying, yeah, but it matters. Those people have to be changed. Whoever they are, they have to be stopped. But nothing's changing anyway. Right? Could you let go of wanting to change it? See if you find a real solution behind that. Because if you're just sitting around wanting to change things, you're stuck. Could you let that go? And could you let it go some more? And some more. And more. And even more. Now, take a look at December. See if there's anything that you want to change, anything that you're disappointed about. Maybe You couldn't celebrate the holidays the way you wanted to, go where you wanted to, buy what you wanted to, everything closed up. Maybe your business had to close up. Could you let go of why and change that? Because all you're doing is giving your power away. And it's all an illusion. That's a big joke of it all. It really is just an illusion. Could you let go of wanting to change it? And some more. And more. And some more. And more. And how's that feel? Now go back and take a look at all of 2020. See if you're disapproving of it in any way, still thinking, oh, that god-awful year. That year that'll go down in infamy. Could you let go disapproving of 2020? And could you let go disapproving of it some more? And some more. And some more. And some more. And more. And could you give 2020 some approval? Just love it. Despite what happened, could you love it anyway? And could you love it a little bit more? And a little bit more. And just a little bit more. And how does that feel? Now take a look at 2021. And see if you're wanting to change anything going into 2021. Or hoping things will change. Maybe have some expectations. But look, if you're waiting for the world to change, you're going to be waiting a long time. The only thing you can change right now is you. In your attitude. It all starts with you. So could you let go of any expectations? Anything that you're wanting out of 2021? Take a look. What are you wanting to change? Or what are you wanting to be different now, moving forward? And notice something. When you're wanting, what are you picturing? What are you really picturing when you're wanting something? You're picturing not having it. You're going right back and you're picturing the problem. A problem of lack. And wanting keeps you stuck in lack. So that's a good way to guarantee nothing's going to change moving forward if you're into wanting. So get in touch with that want that you have. Could you let go of that wanting? Of course, your mind will give you all sorts of reasons to want it, why it's important. And what it comes down to is your happiness. What you're telling yourself was something that you want. Like if you want something to change or be better, you're saying to yourself, well, once it gets better, then I'll be happy. Right? Things will be so much better. I'll be back to normal. I'll be happy. I'll be free. I'll feel safe again. But until that happens, I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to feel insecure, out of control, until that exterior force changes, that circumstance, which is out of my hands. That's what you're setting yourself up when you get into wanting. And you're robbing yourself of the happiness that you have right now. Why play those games with yourself? So just decide right now. I'm going for a position of imperturbability. Doesn't matter if things change or not. I'm going to be happy anyway. That's what imperturbability is all about. It's not minding the circumstances. Now, of course, we hear all the great masters say this. I know I always attributed, a certain quote to Eckhart Tolle, but then somebody told me that he was just quoting a different master. When somebody asks, well, what's your secret? And he says, my secret is I don't mind what happens. See, to be in that position, you got to be absent of any wants and desires, right? To not mind what happens. Now, if that's where a master is coming from, why not check it out for yourself? So get in touch with that wanting. Could you let it go? And could you let go of wanting that different thing a little bit more? And could you let that wanting go a little bit more? See, who's doing it? It's you who's wanting. You're doing it. And if you're doing it, you can stop it. You can just let it go right now. It's just a decision. Could you let go of that wanting a little bit more? Yes or no? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And more. And even more. See, even in the Bible it says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So could you let that wanting go even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. All right? And how does that feel? Does that feel lighter? More positive? And just notice right now if it's more possible to have. Or you might even find yourself having right now. So again, the great thing about what we're doing here, the simple method is, it's experiential. You don't have to trust me. You don't have to believe me. But when you do it, you see for yourself. And everything that you're experiencing, you're feeling lighter, freer, quieter, more positive, more possible. That's not so bad. It's a much better direction to go in, isn't it? And if you maybe, just maybe, step on the gas, you can go far down this road. this road of peace and joy and having, and even have a serious breakthrough in consciousness where you know where all the masters are coming from. You know yourself and your connection with the whole universe. And maybe you know for yourself the greatest joy, and that it's inside of you already, right now. And you could have this joy moment by moment by moment. And you could have all the freedom and all the abundance each and every moment as you so decide. And it's nice and free and easy. What would it be worth to be in that flow? To be happy all the time with no misery at all. Just every day is a wonderful, wonderful day through and through. Now you're getting a taste of it now. But what this work has shown us is that you got to do the work and clean out all of this suppressed garbage to experience the full extent of who you are. And that's a great thing about what's going on right now in the world, is that it's really forcing us to look at ourselves because, well, trying to change what's out there is just getting us more and more stuck. So there's only one place to go, within. And the more challenging, the more what's going on stirs us up, it's a greater opportunity. And even though we may have experienced setbacks, like in this past year, had our life crumble, it's actually an opportunity to make a giant movement forward. Like Lester said, right? Use what's happening to you. Right? If you have a big smash up in your life, use it. Use any problem, and it'll catapult you way forward if you use it. Now, if you're ready to use it, just to give you a heads up, I'm going to be doing a really advanced class here this January. It's called the Mind Freedom Course. See, we're going to really dig into the mind and find these programs that run in the mind. And what you find is that the mind, it's all about programs. Everything that we experience, it's like a cause and effect. And when that voice talks to you, it's just repeating these programs that you put into the mind. And you notice that mind just keeps repeating that same stuff again and again and again. And if you look at your life and you have the same challenges, the same situations affect you again and again and again, you're going for your goals and you still come up empty again and again. It's because you have programs in your mind. So we're going to take a very advanced look at how the mind works, how these programs operate in the mind, and go in and unravel them in a very deep level. And what happens when you unravel these programs, it just clears out. It's like, just to put it simply, the mind works just like a computer. And these programs are like viruses. You got limitations, problems. It's like a virus. It's in your mind. And even if it's something that seems to be out there, external to you, what you're going to discover is that it is all in your mind. And when you knock out these programs, whatever's going on in the world, you'll see it change. Because now you can rewrite what's going on around you. So that's what we're going to be doing, and it's starting on January 1st. And if you're on the email list, I'm sending you some details about this program. And you can go to powerofquiet.com, get on the email list. And also, after we're done here, I'll put it in the description on YouTube. So you could check it out. And this will basically put you back in the position where you are in charge of your mind instead of having it run amok and creating situations that you are stuck trying to resolve or fight. Right? Just get above the whole thing. Get yourself back into position where you are the programmer of that computer called your mind. All right. And let's prove it. Let's prove that you are the creator. All right? So let's do a little bit of work here. And we can work on your goals for 2021, see where you're at, see what's in the way, and show you can knock these things out. All right? So who'd like to check in? Do a little bit of work, share where you're at. And also, I'd like to hear some good things. I know a lot of you, a lot of us in the community, we're doing the work. And maybe you've had a terrific 2020. I know I have. So if you have some gains to share, I know Tarita, you got gains all the time. You want to share some?
Hi Chris, hi everyone. Happy New Year to all of you. Yes, I did not feel at all that 2020 was a bad year at all. In fact, it was a year where I can feel with full vigor that I can. And that was the very first time in my life that I felt this way, the, the feeling of I can. So I'm heading in that direction. My business went very well, so that's a gain. And many things I thought I won't be able to do it, and I'm doing it every day. So yes, that's the gain, and I'm finally making money and making bigger money goals. So these are my gains.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey. And Jeremy.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Just woke up 5 minutes ago. I remembered you're on the call. So I wanted to work on, like, last year I sort of tried to have a push of working online, and it's still it's creeping along, but like a long way from being sustainable. So so the government handouts in Australia are going to end soon, and so I'll have to really make something happen the next couple months. I've got a bit of sources of money coming in, but not much from online, and so that's something that I'd like to really smash this year for good.
Okay. All right, so first of all, take a look to see if you're trying to figure out what to do.
I definitely am.
Okay. And look, when you do that, you're getting into the mind.
Yeah,
and it just spins you around.
In fact,
it spins you around with all these
totally.
possibilities, but it really doesn't know what to do. If it knew what to do,
completely,
you would just go right at it and you would get it done, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
totally. It's funny you should say that, because I've been totally paralyzed about which direction exactly and the strategy. And I've dabbled in a few areas, and that's one of the things that is really been confusing, because it's just not knowing really exactly which one of my talents to use and exactly the way to use it, because there's just so many options.
Right. Yeah, so look.
And you can spend, yeah.
Yeah, so you get paralyzed. Do you see that? Your mind just spins you around all over the place. And your mind does know how to do one thing. It does one thing very, very well. It tells you to beat yourself up. Right?
Yeah, good at that.
Very good at that. And to worry, which is
Yeah.
basically another cute way of beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Because when you're worrying about something, you're just telling yourself, "Oh, I'm so limited, right? I'm so insecure. I have this problem." Yeah, and the problem is you're focused on a problem, and you're pulling it right in at you. You being
Yeah.
the creator, where you can create infinitely good things or bad things, and it doesn't matter what you create. But you're out of control about it. You're giving your power away to the mind, and it just creates a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
Right? So, you see, you've been beating yourself up, right?
Oh, yeah.
And looking for an answer that you're not getting. So let's turn that around. First of all, could you let go of beating yourself up?
Yeah.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself?
Yeah.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself some more?
Yeah.
And some more.
Yeah.
And some more.
Yeah.
And even more.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, see, not so bad. And just real quick, I noticed some people on the YouTube stream were asking, well, how do I get into this conversation here? Where we're chatting, if this is a members only thing. No, you just have to be on the email list. Go to powerofquiet.com, and on the homepage, put your email address in, and you'll get notified when we do these group coaching sessions. And you also get notified about these advanced courses where we really dive deep into this work. What we're doing here is really just kind of at the surface. I mean, it's powerful, but it's just a real taste of what this work is really all about. And so just go to the website, make sure you're on the email list, and you're all set. All right, so Jeremy, now, if beating yourself up doesn't get you anywhere and just kind of leaves you in the dumps, then we just have to go in the opposite direction if you really want to know what the true answer is. All right, so now could you just give yourself some approval? For no reason, just because.
Yeah.
And could you give yourself a little bit more approval?
Yeah.
And could you give yourself a little bit more approval?
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah.
And even more.
Yeah.
And could you give yourself some more approval?
Yeah.
And just love yourself, despite what happens. Even if you run out of money, could you love yourself anyway? What else are you going to do? Beat yourself up? Worry, freak out? And who said that you had to have a lot of money to be happy? Or have all your toys? Have a nice home? Right? Where's the happiness come from? Does it come from those things?
No.
Or is it up to you? Right? So could you be happy now? Could you give yourself some approval?
Yeah.
And could you give yourself some more approval?
Yeah.
And could you give yourself some more approval?
Yeah.
And some more.
Yeah.
And how do you feel now?
Yeah, it feels great.
Nice.
Mm.
Now take a look at what to do, how to have money. See if it's more possible now from this point of view.
Nothing's coming to mind other than just one step at a time.
Okay, well, just notice how you feel. Don't ask your mind, just
Yeah.
ask your gut. Is it more possible
Yeah.
that you'll find a
Yeah.
solution?
Yeah.
It might not come from your own creation, it just might come from out there. But it's a different picture, isn't it, than what you had a few moments ago? A different feeling?
Yeah, it's a different feeling around it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the urgency, less urgency.
Yeah. See, look, this is what everybody talks about when they talk about the law of attraction. It's simply that positive attracts positive, and negative attracts negative.
Yeah.
So when you get nice and positive inside, that's when you attract positive things. That's why, a lot of people, when they talk about the law of attraction, they, along the same lines, they talk about having an attitude of gratitude, right? Being thankful and stuff. That's just another way of getting more positive.
Yeah.
But see, this is even better, because when you think about what to be gratitude about, that's kind of rationalizing, and only takes you so far. But you can just get right to the core of it and just say, hey, can I love myself? Period. Right? And you do it, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right? So take a look at what you're holding in mind, because this is your real proof. You might not think, well, I don't have an answer yet, but you feel lighter about it, and you're not so stuck on the problem, right?
Yeah.
Right? And this now frees your mind up to take on something new, to have an insight, or even take on new knowledge, even do something, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that something's going to magically fall in your lap, but now you're just open.
The feeling of it feels more opportunity than problem, actually, which is nice. Feels like, okay, there could be something around the corner, rather than the other way, the converse, which is, I need to solve this.
Right. And see, that's your gut, that's your intuition talking to you, which is never wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And also, see, you're clearing out the clutter in your mind. And someone who really knew a lot about this was Bruce Lee. He talked about, teaching martial arts and teaching people that already knew it. It's like, I can't teach them anything because they know it all. And he used an analogy of a glass. It's full of water. It can't take on any more. You empty it out, and that's where you can fill it up. Right? So you're just emptying out your mind. And you just stay empty, and everything's just a flow.
Yeah.
Right? And see, now that your mind isn't consumed with, how do I get out of the situation? It's just more relaxed, more open, more quiet. Now you, as the owner of that mind, because you are the owner of it, right? You haven't caught your mind moonlighting on you. It doesn't go talking to other people. It only talks to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that right there tells you you're the boss. You're the owner. It doesn't talk to anybody else but you. So now as the owner, you could start taking control and directing what you hold in mind. Right? And this is where you can focus on your goal. And not like figuring out, well, how do I get it? Because that's only focusing on, I don't have an answer. But if you just focus on the goal, my goal is to is to have a lot of money, to have a stable income, to do something creative and profit, right? To be abundant. You just hold that picture. See, now your mind is open. You can hold in mind what you really want. Not as what Lester said, not what you don't want, which is what most of us are stuck in.
Is it a good idea to think to have a time? And because I'd like to get something going by the end of the month, like.
Well, the time is now. To be perfectly honest, always focus on now. Don't ever put anything in the future.
Okay.
Right? Go for it now. Because when do you manifest things? You ever manifest anything in the future, or do you manifest it now?
Yeah.
Or even when you get to work, you start taking action to get things done. Does that happen in the future, or do you start taking those steps now?
Yeah.
Right? So however you do it, either by creating it, manifesting it, or taking action. See, you just take that first step now. And we get nice and clear. You take that step, and then you take the next one, the next one.
Yeah.
Right? But you're always focusing on the end result. And either way, if you just focus on the end result, whether you take action or you just release on it and allow it to fall in your lap, it happens very quickly, either way.
Cool.
All right, so what is your goal?
Well,
what is it that you really want?
I guess I'd like to be online and make 10,000 a month, because I feel like with that I can setting aside COVID, I can move around, I can travel with that, and then I can still pay the mortgage. And I don't have to be bound to one place.
Okay.
So that's sort of the figure that I kind of have in mind, and just doing something creative with my music, healing, and songwriting.
Okay. So first,
because they're things I love to do and I'm good at. So.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're pretty clear on it already, but just get a picture of that, having it. Having the reach online, having the exposure, having the ability to monetize that, and doing it, having everything working. Just get a picture of all of that working for you. And see yourself doing it right now. And see yourself having 10,000 a month. You got that picture?
Yep.
Now, just referring back to the law of attraction, the methodology is just focusing on that picture. Maybe having a vision board, and eventually it comes around, doing like affirmations, positive thinking, right? Now, like I said, all creation happens now. And what happens when we use affirmations or whatever, say we repeat it 1,000 times, and finally on the 1,000th time we manifest it. Well, basically, the other 999 times we didn't believe it. It was finally until we accepted it that it happened, and it happened immediately.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. And when I pictured it, I did notice that disbelief jump in.
Yeah. But look, I mean, another way of looking at it is, you do the other 999 times. It's kind of like building yourself up to finally accept it.
Yeah.
But that's basically what's happening. When you create it immediately. And whether you do the work, via the law of attraction, or you do it the old-fashioned way. You go out, you hustle up business, you go out and you make it work, right? You put in the labor for it. All that work kind of builds up until the point where you just create it, you make it happen. But it's all the same thing. You either do it the slow way or you do it just with thought. It doesn't really matter either way. But the point is you create it. And it starts with focusing on the end result. Now, the great thing about this method and using the goals is, as you see what comes up in your mind. Like I said before, I was talking about this Mind Freedom course. The mind has all these programs. Oh, I can't. It's impossible. The world's against me. It's hard. Nobody else is doing it. And your mind is feeding you all this information. It's just a program. Now, other people, they're going out and they're becoming massive success. And you look at people and it's like, how did that idiot become so successful? Right? And the thing is, they don't have that particular program that's running in your mind that's stopping you. Right? So what you can do now is you can start dismantling these programs. Work on your goal. So we'll keep things nice and simple here. Like I said, what we do here mostly is just real basic releasing, right? So you said you felt that impossibility come up, right? You felt that
a little bit, yeah. I noticed my vibe just slightly changed when I visualized it.
And where'd that come from?
Crept in.
Came from your mind,
just a
right?
Program.
Right, and you created that. See, notice if you're suppressing that. Just see if you have a tightness in your stomach or chest right now. You feel that?
Well, sort of, yeah. I lost the good feeling I had after we first released, just slightly. It just changed.
Okay, well, just bring your focus to your stomach or chest. Do you feel the contraction there?
Not specifically. It just the general vibe felt different. I'm not specifically noticing on my chest, to be honest.
Okay. Well, see if you're trying to figure out how to get that vibe back.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So you got thrown into your mind. That takes you out of the vibe. When you're in the vibe, you weren't in your mind, were you? You're just in you're open, you're in the flow. Yeah. And it was coming to you rather than you trying to capture it and make it through your mind, right? So you're back in your mind. It's trying to sort things out, and it can't.
Yeah.
Right? So could you let go of wanting to figure it out?
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah.
Right? And see if you're disapproving of yourself.
Yeah.
Damn, I lost the vibe. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do it? What's in there? Right? Could you let go of disapproving of yourself?
Yeah.
Could you let go disapproving of yourself some more?
Yeah.
And could you let go disapproving of yourself some more?
Yeah.
And some more.
Yeah.
And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more?
Yeah.
And even more. And how do you feel now?
Good.
Now, could you give yourself some approval? After all, how did you get into that vibe in the first place?
Doing this.
Yeah, right? So you just do what worked for you in the first place. Could you give yourself some approval?
Yeah.
And could you give yourself some more approval?
Yeah.
And a little bit more.
Yeah.
And a little bit more.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Feels good.
Now, check this out. Just could you give your goal some approval? Get a picture of that. You know, that whole picture of being online, making money, having it all work. Right? Could you give that picture some approval?
Mm.
And could you give it some more approval? And look at it this way. Even if you don't manifest it just by releasing only, right? You got to find a way. You got to make it work. You got to build it up, right? If you get hung up in your ego and you let your mind take over, it's going to complain. It's going to, oh, this is hard. It's a struggle. You're going to have effort, right?
Mm.
But if you just keep it simple like this, you have your goal. You just gave your goal approval as you did it, as you went forward and found a way. Wouldn't it be a much smoother and pleasant experience? Right?
Totally. It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
And
it stops that program coming up.
Yeah. And if you were disapproving of your goal, it's easy to give up. Go, oh, that damn goal. I'll never do it. And feel frustrated, right?
It's easy to give up, and also like you know, you're not having to deal with the negativity that keeps coming up as well. So so if you're approving, then you don't have to deal with that sort of, it's not just the goal, it's the negativity that's smacking you in the head, you know, like so if you don't have to deal with that, that's nice as well.
Yeah. But if you did the opposite, you let go of disapproving of that goal and you gave it approval, even if you have to work for it, even if it took years of building it up, it'd be a nice process. And also you're focused on your goal. So you're giving it approval. You're not going to be so apt to abandon it. It's just like, hey, my goal, I love my goal. And you're giving your goal attention, right? So if you're disapproving of it, you're not going to want to give it attention. You're going to get up in the morning and go, screw that. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go chug a few beers, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm going to procrastinate.
Mm.
Right? Whereas if you give it approval, you get up and go, yeah, I got my goal. I'm going to keep working at it. Right? And it's a pleasant experience. And by giving it positive attention, as you move towards it, you'll find a way to do it.
Yeah,
things will open up for you. Answers will come to you. You'll find a way. There's always a way, right?
It becomes more enjoyable.
So just in a very practical way, this is a much better way of just approaching it. And it's so simple, right? So give your goals some love and approval.
Yeah.
And love it some more. Just love it. Even if there's a long road ahead, could you love it anyway? Just love it. And could you love it some more? And some more.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
Feels good.
Yeah, see, there you go. Now you get to move forward feeling good. And by releasing,
Great idea.
boy, you'll be astounded at what happens easily for you. Yeah,
Cool.
and you got the way. You know how to work on your goals. You know how to dig into them and release on them more thoroughly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you feel good about it, now you can feel good about using your goal chart and working on it and knocking those things out and clearing out your mind, getting more imperturbable. And not only having your goal, but having the consciousness that will get you good at having all goals.
Yeah.
See, yeah, when you're working on your goals, you're knocking out these programs, these limitations in the mind. And even though you work at certain specific things, you'll see everything turn around in your life. Then you'll find yourself in a place where you can just think and have things happen. The last live stream we did, the group coaching call I shared, just how, just working on these things and applying the method. Like I said before, staying with it, doing it systematically, not just a little bit here, a little bit there, is where you build the base in your consciousness, so that, we had a new lockdown here in the Netherlands, and all of a sudden I realized, the day that they were locking down, there's going to be a new lockdown. I was like, oh, I need a new haircut. It's already overgrown. I was like, oh, another 5 weeks, I'm gonna look like a mushroom. So first I just got nice and imperturbable about it. It took a couple of minutes. I was like, oh yeah. It was just a real quick decision. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna let go of being bothered by it. I'll find a way. I'll enjoy it, right? Just like you saw it. I can enjoy it anyway. And then there was just a sense of new possibility. And then it just occurred to me, well, why not have it my way? And then the very next day, a friend of mine who's a stylist messaged me and said, hey, you need a haircut? And he came over and cut my hair.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything. So this is what Lester talks about. To get to a place where you just think and have things happen. And you'll see everything is your decision. And that's why it's good to share these gains too. So what gains have you had?
In 2020?
Yeah, well, you've had some good gains, right?
I think I had the most unproductive year of my life, but I'm in a new house with a view, so I manifested that, which is nice.
That's a nice manifestation.
Yeah. So I do have some online work, so that's something. I didn't have that before.
All right.
So yeah, I have. So there has been a pivot in my career. It's just a case of bringing it in. So
yeah. Well, see, and all you have to do is let go of, where you're stuck. You're holding on still, and you'll free yourself up even more.
Yeah.
But see, you have gains. Don't let your mind try to convince you otherwise.
Yeah.
See, now you can pay attention to that mind and say, man, that thing is just full of it. So my mission now is to just quiet that whole thing completely.
Yeah, it is fun when you manifest something. The previous house, I visualized in rainforest and I got that, and then this one was with a view and I got that. So that was nice to have a couple kind of what you asked for come through. So it kind of made it fun.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to manifest my guitar back if I could, the one that got stolen. So that's kind of next on my list.
You could.
So
there is no impossible. Try it. Just release on it. Just release on having your guitar back. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good.
Cool,
keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, Runa.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Chris.
How are you doing?
Hi. Happy New Year.
Happy
I'm
New
good.
Year.
Yes. Thank you. I'm good. It's I can start with the gains for
Uh-huh.
2020. Although some of the most important gain about housing, I haven't owned a flat for 10 years or so, but it's going to happen in 2021. I bought it, but it's not ready yet.
Nice. Nice.
So that's a gain.
Mm-hmm.
It's suddenly like I suddenly inherited the 100,000 euros, so that was possible to buy anything.
Very
So
nice.
that came from that was a surprise because
Mm-hmm.
the one I inherited from is not dead yet. That's my dad, but he gave me the
And
before
see, he
everyone
didn't have
else.
to die.
Yeah, he didn't even have to die. No, so that came as a very big surprise, actually.
Yeah.
So yes, I see stuff happening, and I had some contact with my ex. I haven't contacted many years ago and stuff like that. That happened in 2020. So bad thing didn't actually happen, but I'm a control freak. I want to have it my way.
Okay.
I don't like to be controlled. I want to be free. That's
Yeah,
what
but
I
see,
mean to say. So
but all the while that you're into that, you're letting your mind control you. Because where is all that coming from? That whole
I know
conversation.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I, I feel almost like it's the energy of my body that controls me because actually I want to go out of my body experience. That's what I'm searching for right now, so I can have the ultimate dream because I don't know what it is. It sounds crazy, but I know.
Okay.
But again, no, but it's like I know I want to know what I want because I feel everything is messed up.
Okay. All right. So you're trying to figure out what you want, is what you're telling me, right?
Yes, I tried for that for
And you're
years and
and you're
years and
asking your
years.
mind, and your mind doesn't have a clue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how silly is it to keep asking something that doesn't know, doesn't have the answer for you, and you keep asking it anyway, because that's what you're doing when you're trying to figure it out.
I know it's silly,
Okay.
and
So now that it's
every
silly,
program that you ever see online, or I even managed to build myself some years ago, is about how to get what you want. But how can you get what you want when you don't know what you want?
well, first of all, could you let go figuring it out since you're asking something that doesn't know? You got to start moving yourself in the right direction. So
Yes,
now that you say that's silly, can you just set your mind aside for a moment?
yes.
And set aside that need to know just for a moment now. Just give yourself a break for this moment. Could you let go of wanting to know?
Yes.
Okay. Now see if you're disapproving of yourself because you don't know what you want.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and does that get you what you want by beating yourself up?
No,
Okay, and
I
who's
know
doing
this.
it? Yeah. And notice who's
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah. Some part of me is doing it. Yes.
Okay, you're doing it. You're
Yeah.
in charge. So since you're in charge, now you can make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide?
I'm going to be positive and love myself.
All right. So could you let go of disapproving of yourself?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
Then could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more?
Yes.
And more.
Yes.
And more.
Yes.
And even more. And how does that feel?
Breathing.
Yeah? Free?
I'm floating, kind of.
Good. Now, could you give yourself some love?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what you want? Love?
Yes.
Then why not give it to yourself? So give yourself a little bit of love.
Hmm.
And give yourself some more love. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And could you give yourself a little bit more love? How does that feel?
Yeah, kind of that what I described as the out of body experience kind of feels right now.
Yeah, see, you didn't even have to get rid of your body.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I have all these trainings, so I have experiences of doing that. So,
Yeah.
but right now it feels like I'm really quiet and
Yeah, see,
yes,
yeah, see, you learned a lot of stuff, but notice what really works is when you keep it simple. You just go right to the basics of what you need to do. And you did it. And it just took a couple of moments.
Yes, what came into my mind right now that I want to exceed what I have experienced before. I want it's like more, like
Well, how did you get to where you're at right now? You just did a little bit of making some decisions and releasing. It only took you a couple minutes. If you just did what you did already, more and more, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
The results will get more and more if you just keep it simple.
Yes.
And so you just notice that's your mind, because you say, my mind is telling me this, and it's feeding you programs. This is what the mind is, just a bunch of programs, nonsense.
Yeah.
So
I want to say that as well, Chris, because in 2020, when I first discovered you and started doing the releasing, that helped. That's the way I got that still part of me to connect with the rest of me. So I actually not that bothered with anything what happens around me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's some kilometers from here. Like it's a big earth thing going on in Norway. Like some houses just disappeared down in quick mud.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really tragic thing, but before I would probably freak out. It's not that nearby, but 10 kilometers or something like that. But before, or some people will freak out of stuff like that, and it's like interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like, shouldn't I feel anything? But I don't. It's like, it's sad, kind of, for the people who lost their homes and maybe some lost their lives.
Look what's,
yeah.
See, what you're experiencing is you're getting into a better realization because you're proving it out for yourself that all these problems aren't real. It's just noise in the mind, and you're proving it. So when you prove it for yourself, you know it. And when you see things happen to other people, I mean, sure, you can empathize, you can know, but you can understand what they're experiencing. You can understand that people, they get hung up in their ego and they're suffering, and you know why. And it's not like being aloof or anything, but you just understand. And you understand it's not real because you know the truth. And you see that, going to them and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you," it doesn't help them. It just reinforces their misery. Whereas when you know the truth, at least now you have a way of communicating where you can start to share the truth. And because you also let go of your reactivity. You see, these things we call feelings. Like I was saying, the mind is all made up of programs, and feelings are programs. We have a situation, and we programmed ourselves to feel a certain way. But not everybody feels the same way with the same situation. Why? Because everybody's programmed differently. So fear, lust, anger, excitement, all these things are just programs. And we place value on them, like, oh, they're so meaningful. They aren't. Now, when you release them, these feelings go away, and what you experience is something that's much greater than all these feelings. It's just an experience of aliveness and love, which is really not a feeling. It's just more of just a state. Now, you can also have the feelings if you want. The difference is that when you release, you get yourself in a place where you're not run by them. And you can use them, you can pick up a feeling, you can play with it, and then set it down. And not have it control you. See, it's a different relationship. You don't lose anything. But you're just gaining more mastery.
Mm.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, keep up the good work.
Thank you. You do.
And keep it simple.
Simple, yeah.
All right. So we'll do one more here. I know some of you, we've got several people with their hands raised, but don't want to take up too much time here. So we'll handle one more, and then we'll do a little concluding release and get clear about what we're going to create here in 2021. All right, Anna, you had your hand up for a while. Anna?
Yeah. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. All right.
Oh, good. Good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, even though there are facing quite a lot of resistance and some kind of concern that it's going to be even worse than now, even that I'm in really good situation.
Mm-hmm.
But with expecting economic crash and so on.
Okay. So look at it this way. Just get nice and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your happiness come from?
From me?
Yeah. Does it depend on the economy?
It could be.
Well, if it does, you're setting yourself up for misery.
Yes, I can see it.
You're just going to be on a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, but it's not. I really on the.
So look, let's just keep it simple.
Opportunity.
Let's just keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Stop giving your power away to money. Stop giving your happiness away to it.
Yes.
right? You already know where your happiness comes from. So
Mm-hmm.
the best way around all this thing, and find the clarity so you could have the money. You see, the way you're going now is you're putting yourself in a position where money controls you if you're giving your happiness away to it. And it matters. So, and that leaves you stuck with whatever's going on out there. It's going to leave you in a position where you're going to lose. But if you come from a place of taking your happiness from within and being imperturbable, that leads you to a place where you are in charge. And you could have it your way. That's the only way to go. Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes, I do. Right.
Okay.
I'm
So
not
I
so
understand,
concerned
but
about me, but I
yeah,
feel
look,
that to
okay,
help people, and I don't know how.
it's your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And it does concern you because they're your feelings. If you didn't have feelings about it, it wouldn't bother you. Just like Runa, he saw what happened to the others. It didn't bother him, even though the mind says, "Oh, I should be bothered by it." But what does that accomplish? Right? The only thing really to do is just love, right? And it's just a different perspective. It's a more empowering thing that gives you different options. So let's just keep it nice and simple. You're not wanting the economy to go bad, right? You're resisting it. What could happen? Things getting worse. Can you see that?
No, it's not bothering me so much.
No?
No.
Okay. All right. So could
You
you...
know, that feeling of uncertainty, complete uncertainty that I could lose everything tomorrow. I mean,
Are you okay with that?
I don't know. I really don't know because
You have some feelings.
two really strong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Because I also
You feel those
see other
feelings now?
people.
Okay. You're talking about it isn't going to release it.
Mhm.
You feel the feeling right now?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome it up. Can you see you're pushing
Yes.
down on the feeling?
Yes.
Right? And all the talking is just keeping you pushing it down. So just focus on the feeling and welcome that feeling
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Right? See if you've been saying no to that feeling.
Yes.
Okay? And saying no to it is just bottling it. Now, instead of that, say yes to it. Say yes to that uncertainty.
Yes.
Right? Say yes to a little bit more.
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And say yes to a little bit more.
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And say yes to it a little bit more.
Yes.
And a little bit more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And say yes to it even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
It feels more quiet.
Yeah, see, less uncertain. Now let go pushing down on the rest of that feeling. Just let it all come up. And open up.
Yes.
And let that feeling leave. Just see it as energy
Yes.
passing through.
Yes.
All right? And some more.
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
It feels more quiet.
Good. Now, can you say yes to the situation of the economy getting worse?
Yes.
Just say yes to it. See, when you
Yes.
say no to it, you're stuck with that picture of it's worse and I have no power over it. But when you say yes to it, just watch what happens. Just say yes to it. And say yes to it some more.
Yes.
And say yes to it some more.
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels nice.
And could you allow it to get worse? Could you let it get worse and be happy anyway?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
And more?
Yes.
And just surrender to it getting worse now.
Yes.
Right? And just catch your mind and let go of wanting to change that, let go of wanting to control it. Just let it be whatever it's going to be. And could you be happy anyway now?
Yes.
And let go of wanting to figure out what to do about it.
Yes.
And could you surrender to beingness?
Yes.
And surrender to beingness some more.
Yes.
And just let beingness do whatever beingness is going to do. Beingness manages to run the whole universe. Just let everything unfold.
Yes.
And can you surrender to beingness?
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And some more.
Yes.
And what are you experiencing now?
Quiet.
And what do the possibilities look like for you now? Is it more possible to prosper?
I'm completely sure that I will prosper.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See, now
Yes.
you're not holding in mind what you don't want. You just emptied it out. And you don't even have to hold in mind what you do want. It just comes to you. Oh, everything's perfect. And I can always have it my way. And then you can get specific. You can drill in and have a specific goal for yourself. And then from this position, it's just a joyful journey to having that goal and proving it for yourself, like you've done so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, good. So keep up the good work and keep it simple. That's all. And your gains will just keep getting better and your life will keep getting better. You'll just be happy all the time.
Yeah, some fear is now coming up.
Yeah, well, you know what to do with that. Say yes to it. That's all.
Yeah.
Right? Just say yes to the fear. And watch what happens right now. Say yes to it.
Yes.
And let the fear pass through. Say yes to it some more.
Yes.
And what are you experiencing now?
Yes, it's getting lighter.
Okay. So yes is the answer. So, what are you going to do with everything that comes up?
Yes, I'm going to, but it feels like I'm so good in suppressing feelings that I even don't
You're
see
just telling
them.
me a bunch of garbage that's coming from your mind. It's a program.
Yes.
This is why.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I was pointing this out. The mind is full of a bunch of garbage. And it's all this yes, but that keeps coming up. It's just coming up from your mind. It's just a program that says, oh, I'm this way and I keep doing this. You got to go into your mind and say, enough of that nonsense. I'm not going to have that anymore. I've already proven to myself that it's not true. Yet it keeps coming up again. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to be a victim to all of this garbage in my mind? Or am I going to really focus in and say, I'm the boss. I'm going to take charge of this thing, clean it all out, clean up my consciousness, be who I really am, be a master. Because why not? Why continue to struggle when you've seen Lester, you've seen all these other masters, you've seen where they're coming from, you see what they demonstrate, and you followed their guidance, you've proven enough out. So far of what you've worked on and releasing, has Lester ever been wrong?
No.
No. And so when he tells you, you can get to the place where you can just think and have things happen. Why not take him up on that and prove it? He hasn't been wrong so far. So, and here's another thing. Why just settle for a little piece of the action? Why just settle for, oh, a little, I feel a little bit better and then I'm still having problems. I'm still having limitations. Why not continue doing what you have done to get you to where you are now and go all the way with it? Like Lester put it, why settle for the piece of the pie when you could have the whole pie?
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes is a little determination. And that's what we're going to be doing here is really getting clear about what that mind is, how these programs operate. See what your mind is telling you. Why do you need to repeat to me that you're not good at blah, blah, blah with releasing, you keep getting stuck? What do you need that program for? All you have to look at that and says, that's just a program in my mind. What am I going to do about it? I want to take it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to do is just take all this stuff out and get you back in charge of your mind. That's it. It's that simple. And it's easy when you do it. You've been proving it right here. You just did it and you got, so, light so fast. And plus, I could hear a big change in your voice. I always tell you this over the years that you've been doing this. You just continue to grow and you could hear it. You notice a difference? You notice where you are now versus like 5 years ago?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, you've carved out a piece of the pie. Now is the time to step on the gas and go for the whole thing. That's it.
Yes.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad we're in agreement. So keep up the good work.
Yeah.
All right. Good job, Anna. You're really doing good. And I want to congratulate you for that. All right. So let's just do a little cleanup, a little wrap up. So take a look at your mind. And see if it's still telling you, yeah, but. I release, I feel nice, but I still have a limitation. And see if that limitation seems real, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. There's lots of evidence saying that you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have. And right now, as you're sitting here, where is all that noise and that information coming from? It's your mind. And you're the owner of it. And what is required is you to act like it. Act like the owner. And say, oh, well, if that noise is in my mind, I put it in there. And if I did that, I can take it out. I'm the owner. Now, the first step is to let go of resisting whatever your mind is telling you. And let go of resisting the problems that it keeps throwing your way. See if you have some resistance to obstacles or limitations that you see in your mind that seem real. As long as you resist them, they are real. But you can keep it nice and simple. Look at it practically. What do you get out of resisting it? Does that lead you to a solution? Or does that just leave you stuck? Now, that resistance, see if you're saying no to the resistance. That's just building up the resistance. So instead of saying no, look at that resistance and say yes to it right now. And say yes to that resistance a little bit more. And say yes to it a little bit more. And a little bit more. And say yes to that resistance even more. And even more. And even more. And whatever your mind is telling you, you can't do that. You're no master. Right? Could you say yes to your mind? Just say yes to it. See, the problem is we get wrapped up trying to figure it out. Well, what do I do about it? How do I change that mind? How do I let go of those limitations? Well, that right there could just get you stuck in your mind. Right? Just say yes to those perceived limitations. Just say yes to it. That's all. And say yes to it a little bit more. And a little bit more. And more. And a little bit more. And more. And even more. And what's happening when you say yes to that mind of yours? It's getting nice and quiet, isn't it? Quieting down. And this is how you get to see through the limitations. Instead of butting up against them. This is how a master sees. It doesn't see obstacles. There are no obstacles, according to a master. And the obstacles are just in the mind. Get it nice and quiet. There are no obstacles. And this is a good measure for yourself and a good focus on what your goal is. Quiet that mind. Just focus on that. You can measure yourself and have that destination. You know. And you'll know when your mind is totally quiet. There's no sound, not even a, gee, this is nice. There's just nothing there. You already know that quieting your mind a little bit tastes good. So taste the whole thing. And it's up to you. You got to be the owner. It starts by acting like it, and then doing something about it. If you did that every single moment, just did something. When it came up, you didn't struggle with it, you didn't try to figure it out, you just released it. You just surrendered to it immediately when it comes up. And you do that all the time. How fast would you find freedom? And anytime you had a feeling come up and you just let it go immediately and didn't save it for later. And if you kept yourself open, stayed in release all the time, and if you stayed quiet all the time, how quickly would you find that place of quiet? It would take no time. But it's all about what you put your attention on and your attitude about the method and your willingness to embrace whatever makes you uncomfortable and surrender to it with that intention for quiet and imperturbability. That's how you can go free this lifetime and not be on a path, but be free. Be a master. Lester always said, how long does it take to do a 2-week job? 2 weeks or less. And so far, he hasn't been wrong about anything. So it's up to you to decide to do the job. Go for it all the way. All right? And so if you're up for that, I invite you to go for it all the way. Join me this January. We're going to do a very advanced dive into the mind to unravel it. So make sure you're on the email list. You can go to powerofquiet.com and sign up, and we'll be letting you know more about this course as it comes up in a couple weeks here. You'll get a taste of it, a taste of what you can do. But you already know what you can do. You just have to get bigger than your ego. And just do it. All right, so I'll leave you in peace. And have a peaceful 2021, starting now. And if you can have peace now, you got peace all the time. All right. So take care, everybody. And we'll see you soon.